Please welcome SOAR Executive Director, Colby Hall.
Hey, good afternoon. Don't worry, I saw some of y'all going to plug your ears. I'm not going to start singing like so many of our local artists last night. That country music show was something, wasn't it? Pretty awesome. So much fun. Really, just our local artists, the amount of talent that we have, it's amazing. Really special thanks to our sponsor again, Clark's Pump and Shop, for allowing that country music tribute show to happen. Just a quick plug. Our online, our silent auction is still open and available. So we have some memorabilia from signed by artists themselves out in the lobby. There's a QR code out there that'll link you to our online silent auction. So we've got tons of opportunities for you to go in and bid. And again, 100% of the proceeds are going to go back to the Paramount Theater and the restoration of their marquee sign out there. So yesterday was a big day. Obviously, we had a great reception. It was crowded. It was loud. There was a lot of good energy there. We didn't get a chance to thank our sponsor, Van Antwerp Attorneys. So appreciative of them. And then our breakfast sponsor this morning, King's Daughters Medical System. We just really appreciate King's Daughters, and then obviously the Boyd County Fiscal Court for providing lunch for us today. It's just so good to see everybody as we enter the final stretch of the SOAR Ashland Summit. It's just, we feel such a deep sense of gratitude from the SOAR organization. Over 650 attendees, 48 Kentucky counties, and 6 states represented here today. Folks, we really showed up, and I'd like to give everybody a round of applause for making the trip up and making it a great couple of days. Just to the city of Ashland, Ashland Tourism, the Boyd County Fiscal Court, Boyd County Tourism, just thank you so much for the warm reception and hospitality you've given to us over these couple of days, and I know to the attendees. I mentioned to Judge Cheney, I felt like about 60% of the people I came across had never been to Ashland before. And so what a great reason for you guys to come up and really get to experience this amazing city. Before I introduce our next speaker from our presenting sponsor, Kentucky Power, I just wanted to leave everyone with a few quick thoughts. Congressman Howard Rogers and former Governor Steve Beshear started SOAR in 2014 with a pretty straightforward mission to help answer the question of what's next for Eastern Kentucky, for the region, following the downturn of the coal economy. At SOAR, we're connectors, we're conveners, we're collaborators. We focus on getting the right people in the right rooms to solve the right problems. With tourism being a $60 billion, that's billion with a B, dollar industry in Appalachia, this is some of the lowest hanging fruit that we have, and it's a card that we have to play. However, being real, the real hard work begins, right, when we leave this beautiful community today and we head back to our own. How do you take something that you've heard over the last couple of days, something that you've learned, and apply it to where you live? How do you use today and yesterday, the breakout sessions and all the great content as a catalyst to create new momentum with your own community? Finding answers always starts by showing up, which we've done today, right? Which we've done today, and then also figuring out what part of the rope is ours to pull, and then holding ourselves accountable to pulling that piece of the rope. When it comes to creating and building a better Eastern Kentucky to pass to our sons and daughters and the future generations, we've all got a role to play. Nobody's exempted. So I encourage you to really lean in and listen today as we come down the final stretch in this plenary session. You really may be surprised at how much we can learn from one another. I truly feel, and SOAR truly feels, that our region's best days are ahead of us, and we look forward to doing all we can to support any community, any individual represented in this room today that needs it. You're going to have the full resources. Everything that we can do for you is going to be at your disposal. So at that time, I want to invite Amanda Clark, External Affairs Manager at Kentucky Power, to the podium. Amanda?
Good afternoon. Kentucky Power is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the first ever Not So Many SOAR Summit centered around tourism and downtown revitalization. Kentucky Power has had a presence in Ashland for more than 100 years. Today, our headquarters sits a few blocks down Winchester Avenue at the old post office. Kentucky Power covers 20 counties in eastern Kentucky, and the company and its 341 employees are committed to the development of our region. Since 2016, through the Kentucky Power Economic Growth Grant, we've been able to invest nearly $4 million in 74 economic development projects across our region. We've assisted our communities in economic development education, development and marketing of our sites and buildings, and filled in the gaps to win projects like DashCore. While we work primarily in the commercial and industrial space, the work each of you are doing makes our job easier. Bottom line, companies are not going to locate in places where they can't see themselves living. Each of you plays a hand in changing the perception of Eastern Kentucky. I believe you wouldn't be here if you didn't believe that too. Like many of you from small towns across the state, I wear many hats in Ashland. Besides being the External and Economic Development Manager for Kentucky Power, I'm the Vice Chair of Ashland's Tourism Commission. I'm also on the Board of Commissioners for the City of Ashland. And this conference, this not so many, I can't call it a mini summit, we can't do that when there's this many people here. This conference excites me on every level, and I deeply encourage you to go back to your places and put some of these things into practice. So thank you again for being here. I got to look back at Colby and Josh and all the SOAR team and say thank you for being the catalyst that unites us. Kentucky Power is proud to be your partner. We've heard it so many times across the last couple of days. We are so much stronger together. And frankly, I'm very, very excited about the future of Eastern Kentucky. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, and to anybody else in the audience from Kentucky Power as our presenting sponsor, thank you so much for allowing this great event in Ashland to happen. Next up to the podium, I would like to invite up Ashland's very own Kim McCann. She's a partner at Van Antwerp Attorneys, and she is also SOAR's Executive Board Chairperson. Kim?
Good afternoon. So nice to see all of you here today in this beautiful theater, and the stage is so beautiful, and we consider it a real treasure here in Ashland, and we're so glad to share it with all of you. It's been here for many, many years and been restored, and we're so very, very proud of it, and I want to thank the Paramount for allowing SOAR to use this venue. I'd also like to thank Colby and Josh for all of their hard work and all of their team that's helped put this together. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one person. I'm going to ask her to stand up. Brandy Clark, thank you for all you did to bring the mini summit to Ashland, Kentucky. I know that all of you don't know this, but when Brandy first got in her job, this was one of her first missions, was to try to bring some part of SOAR to Ashland, and she worked hard to make that happen. And I know it was many, many hours without sleep and a lot of work. And it doesn't go unnoticed, Brandy. And SOAR Executive Board appreciates you and appreciate what you've done here. I'd just like to say it's been a pleasure for me to serve on the board of SOAR since its inception. It grew from a dream to a movement, and I feel like that SOAR is now becoming a driver for our region. So having all of you all be a part of that is so very important. But one of the things I've always tried to mention every time I'm given an opportunity to speak is that SOAR is about the region, and all of us have got to work together. You know, we're really not competing with one another. We're competing with the rest of the world out there. And people don't always outside think of us in our own little pockets, in our 15, 20, 100 square miles, whatever we are. They think of us as Eastern Kentucky. And as we all prosper individually, we will all prosper as one. So thank you for working with one another to try to grow our area as much as we possibly can, because I think our future is here, our future is good, and all of us can make it happen. With the right kind of dedication, there's no reason that we can't. So with that, I would like to introduce you to someone that I know personally believes in Eastern Kentucky with her entire heart. She is the the district director for Congressman Hal Rogers. She's former president of Unite. Was former executive director of Eastern Kentucky Pride. She's the mother of 3. She grew up in Pike County. She is a non-traditional student who returned to college. She is a champion of all of Eastern Kentucky. She is my very good friend, and I know she's all of your friend. So let me ask to come to the stage right now, Karen Kelly, District Director for Congressman Hal Rogers. Karen. Go get him.
I paid her to say all that. It is truly an honor to be here today. And what an amazing turnout for this event. I think Amanda was exactly right when she said we can't call it the mini SOAR Summit anymore. I think we call it SOAR 2 or Soaring High, because that's exactly what we're doing. And thank goodness for everyone in this community that has rolled out the red carpet, and what a blessing it is to stand in this beautiful theater and just knowing all the history that has taken place here through the years. It's really a treat. Congressman Rogers sends his regrets for not being able to be here today. He's in Washington voting on one of the most important bills of the year, the comprehensive federal funding bill for the remainder of 2022. It not only includes emergency funding to support Ukraine, may they be in our prayers, and our own national defense, but includes vital funding for our entire region. Particularly our coal mining communities, and some very important earmarks for community projects, including flood control, extending clean water and reliable sewer lines to more homes, supporting specialized health care and critical funding for our first responders. In the bill, Congressman Rogers also secured another round of funding for Kentucky, $25 million for the 7th year in a row in the Abandoned Mine Lands Economic Revitalization Program. That will bring new opportunities to our coal communities. The Congressman started the pilot program in 2016 to fast-track funding to our communities in most need. Thanks to his vision and hard work, that funding has been awarded for 63 projects in 23 communities in Kentucky alone. And I want to thank SOAR for partnering with our local leaders on many of these projects to help create jobs and affect real change year after year. I do believe if the Congressman were here today, he'd want you to know that he's committed to initiatives that create jobs, increase access to rural broadband, and grow tourism, because these hills and hollers are the best kept secret in the country. And he'll always work to keep the next generation from having to move away to find their future. I want to commend Colby and the entire SOAR team for the work they're doing, but more importantly, I want to thank each of you for leading in your communities. Congressman Rogers always says time and time again that Washington, D.C. and Frankfort cannot solve our problems. They can certainly support local efforts, but without community engagement where the rubber hits the road, we are not even in the game. So thank you to each of you for being here, and thank you for the work you do each and every day. I also want to recognize my good friend Kim McCann. She's been involved with SOAR from the beginning and has done an outstanding job as chairman the past couple of years. Congressman Rogers really appreciates you, Kim. Thank you. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say a few words about one of the best friends Congressman Rogers has ever had. There's a lot of people that Hal Rogers could call on for advice, but there's one that he relies on more than others, and that's Jim Host. It's a treat for me to see them bounce ideas off of each other, but I always seem to walk away with a really long to-do list after the two of them get together. And just know that Jim Host does not forget what's on my to-do list. And if it gives you a list, he won't forget what's on yours either. Personally, I want to say thank you to Jim because I've learned so much from him. He's a great encourager, a great friend, but he's one of those that tells you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear. And we all need someone like that in our lives. Have no doubt about it, he loves Eastern Kentucky. He jumped on board at SOAR from day one, and he hasn't stopped since. You're in for a treat when he speaks today. But before I sit down, I have to mention one last thing. There's been a little bit of talk about redistricting lately, and I can't leave here today without welcoming all of Boyd County into the 5th Congressional District. Boyd County is certainly no stranger to Hal Rogers. He loves this area of our state and is thrilled to represent you in Congress. He feels the same about the additions of Wolfe, Bath, and Menifee counties as well. So even though the map won't be official until January 2023, please know that we look forward to serving you, and we hope that you keep us on speed dial each and every day. Godspeed.
Okay, so Karen has foreshadowed our next guest, and I'm going to keep it kind of short because I know most of you are familiar with our speaker, but he is a true icon, and some don't know that he is the favorite son of Ashland, Kentucky. In 1955, he went to the University of Kentucky on a baseball scholarship. He played professional baseball 1 year for the Chicago White Sox, but unfortunately injured his arm, which brought him back to Kentucky. In 1967, he joined the governor's cabinet and promoted tourism throughout Kentucky and was instrumental in the construction of Rupp Arena that we all love. In 1972, this gentleman began Host Communications. In 1983, his company actually introduced the NCAA Corporate Partner Program. In 1998, he created the NCAA football logo with his company. In 2003, he was Secretary of Commerce in Kentucky. He's been chairman of the Louisville Arena Authority. He is in the UK Hall of Distinguished Alumni. He's an outstanding alumnus of the College of Communication in the University of Kentucky. He's in the UK Athletics Hall of Fame. He's a member of the National College Basketball Hall of Fame. He also is a member of the National Tourism Hall of Fame. He was a founding member of the executive board for SOAR. He certainly loves Eastern Kentucky. He loves Kentucky, and he loves sports, and I believe he loves all of you. Jim Host.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You continue to do a great job as the chair of this great organization called Shaping Our Appalachian Region. I am delighted to be here today in my hometown of Ashland. This will always be my hometown. I went to junior high here. I went to high school here. I lived down behind Putnam Stadium on Elm Street. I used to walk up Elm Street after passing papers at 4 o'clock in the morning of the Huntington Herald Dispatch, and I would thumb to school every morning after getting out of junior high at Putnam to Ashland High School, which was downtown on Lexington Avenue. And I worked at the YMCA every night. I would then thumb back home. Hard to believe that you could do that in the 50s, something I suspect you couldn't do now. There is no reason for any of you to be here today if you do not believe in Eastern Kentucky. If you do not believe in Eastern Kentucky, how can you sell Eastern Kentucky? You have to believe in it. You have to believe that we are in the greatest possible opportunity place in the United States to live. Think about those who are living in the middle of Chicago now. Think about those who are living in the middle of New York City right now. Think about those who are living in the middle of Portland, Oregon right now. Think of those who are living in other places that none of us would like to live in because of issues that they have in those places. We do not have any issues that can't be overcome in Eastern Kentucky. But one thing we have to do better, and that is learning how to work even closer together. All of you understand the word tourism. I understand the word tourism, but do you understand that if you are able to get together with some members of your own in the adjacent county or the adjacent area and perhaps work on joint promotions, that you can do much, much better? I saw my first Technicolor movie in this theater, 1954, 3 coins in a fountain. I'll never forget it. I sat somewhere up in that second area on the aisle. I'll never forget that. The other reason I wouldn't forget it is the first date I ever had in my life. I also went to church right up the street on the right-hand side in First United Methodist Church. I gained some friends there that I still have. I used to play basketball in the gym there every Sunday night at 6 o'clock in Methodist Youth Fellowship. So I have great memories of this great place. Reminds me of a story about Billy Graham, who was returning to Charlotte after a speaking engagement. When his plane arrived, there was a limousine there to transport him to his home, and as he prepared to get in the limo, he stopped and spoke to the driver. "You know," he said, "I'm 87 years old." Now, I'm almost 85, so I can equate to this story. "I'm 87 years old, and I've never driven a limousine. Would you mind if I drove it for a while?" Now, Billy gets in the driver's seat, and they head off down the highway. A short distance away sat a rookie state trooper operating his first speed trap. This big, long, black limo went by him doing 70 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. The trooper pulled out and easily caught the limo, and he got out of his patrol car to begin the procedure. The young trooper walked up to the driver's door, and when the glass was rolled down, he was surprised to see who was driving. He immediately excused himself and went back to his car and called his supervisor. He told the supervisor, "I know we're supposed to enforce the law, but I also know that important people are given certain courtesies. I need to know what I should do because I've stopped a very important person." And the supervisor said, "Is it the governor?" The young trooper said, "No, he's more important than that." And the supervisor said, "Oh, so then it's the president." And the young trooper said, "No, he's even more important than that." And the supervisor finally said, "Well then, who is it?" And the young trooper said, "I think it's Jesus because he's got Billy Graham as a chauffeur." Attitude is the way you think. Your attitude is something that other people can actually see. They can hear it in your voice. They can see it in the way you move. They feel it when you're there with you. Your attitude expresses itself in everything you do all the time, wherever you are. Positive attitude always invites positive results. Negative attitudes, like talking negative about your area where you live, always invites negative results. Attitude makes a difference in every single hour, every day, in everything that you do for your entire life. Somebody asked me, he said, "How's your day?" My answer is, I've never had a bad day. And the reason I say that is because there's so many people in this world, so many people across the ocean, so many people in Ukraine that are having bad days. None of us are having a bad day today because of where you are and what you're doing. What you get out of each thing you do will equal the attitude you have when you do it. What you get out of what you're doing in selling tourism and selling Eastern Kentucky will equal the attitude you have when you do it. Anything you do with a positive attitude will work for you. Anything you do with a negative attitude will work against you. If you have a positive attitude, you're looking for ways to solve the problems that you have in your areas that you can solve, and you're letting go of things over which you have no control. You have control of making a difference in your county, in your area, and in this part of the state. You can develop a positive attitude by emphasizing the good and by being tough-minded and refusing defeat, just like the leader of Ukraine is doing today. I was raised here. I worked at the YMCA right across the street on 13th Street for 60 cents an hour at night while I was going to high school. I worked for two guys, Bo McMillan and Ernie Chatton. Bo McMillan was a quarterback at Kentucky in the 30s. Ernie Chatton was revered as being one of the top people ever in high school athletics in this state. I played baseball in Central Park. When they had a Hall of Fame there, I was fortunate to be in the first class. I played in Paintsville, Louisa, Wheelwright, Hazard, Grayson, South Shore. I played all over eastern Kentucky. And what I found, every place I went, that I was welcomed always. There's something different about the culture and the attitude. Call it the unbridled spirit of the people of eastern Kentucky. If you want to know where the unbridled spirit logo on your license plates and so on came from, it came from a survey that we did when I was Secretary of Commerce about the fact that we had 51 different brands of state government, 51 different brands, all in different departments. And I convinced the governor that we should have one brand. We should have one brand that sells Kentucky. So we went out and surveyed people, and it kept coming back that the people of eastern Kentucky are tired of hearing people all over the country talk about Kentucky the way sometimes they do. We have a reverence about it. I've never known a solitary person from eastern Kentucky who hasn't left here who said, someday I want to come back home. Someday I will come back home. And I'll tell you how we got a way of doing it. Most of you are, I think, are aware of what's been going on in this state with broadband. And if the pandemic didn't teach us, it should have taught us that we must have better broadband, especially in the rural parts of Kentucky. And we must have that in order to keep kids from having to go to McDonald's to use the Wi-Fi to do their homework, because some counties only have 10 megs. Some counties even have less than that, and you can't get anything with that. We are the first state in the United States to connect every single county with mid-mile broadband. First one through a development that former Governor Beshear and Congressman Rogers started through a grant to begin with from Appalachian Regional Commission. And that's been going on now for almost 20 years. And we now have got every single county connected. And the next thing to do is to connect the last mile. That'll get the last mile into every single rural area of Kentucky. And we have areas of Fayette County and Lexington that still don't have broadband in some of those rural areas, as well as some of the underdeveloped areas of West Louisville. I say all this to you because there has always been a desire by people to have the best that they can possibly have. And when we get this done, and it will get done, when we get this done, we will have the ability of having more and more outreach from each of your counties to communicate to the world and to all parts of the United States through broadband, through the internet, how you can sell your own areas. I commend Colby Hall and your chairperson, Kim McCann, for having the ability of having this regional mini summit focused on tourism. A lot of people don't even know how to spell tourism. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people give it a flip and a promise. But I will tell you, if you all, with this gathering here, which is far greater than I ever thought that Colby could attract with this first mini summit on tourism. If you all will make up your minds that you can take the great assets, we have more miles of inland navigable streams in this state than any state in the United States with the exception of Alaska. We do not have a water problem here like California has. And we have great lakes. Think about Lake Cumberland. Think about the great man-made lake of Lake Cumberland, which does so much for that part of eastern Kentucky. Think about all the great waterways we have all over eastern Kentucky. Who has the mountains, the majestic mountains that have fall foliage like we have in eastern Kentucky? There are people that come here from all over the world and the United States to rock climb in eastern Kentucky. We have the Red River Gorge in eastern Kentucky. We have something that I bet you that there's not 9 out of 10 of you that can identify as even going on. We moved the elk to this state in the late 1990s and the early part of 2000. And the elk have become now a great viewing area for people that want to see it. There is a nonprofit organization called the Appalachian Wildlife Foundation that is building a elk viewing center at the conveyance of Bell County, Laurel County, Knox County, in an area that was supposed to be an industrial development park, but they couldn't attract any industry there. It's now been and we have moved 200 elk that has now become 500 elk to that area. It's on the migratory track, exact migratory track of birds coming from Canada to Brazil. I was there the other day and saw an eagle that was there. It's the highest elevation of that part of eastern Kentucky. You can see over Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia from that site. And it's already under construction to be opened in the latter part of 2023. It will be the largest single tourist attraction built in this part of Kentucky ever. And it's already under construction. And it's a nonprofit. It's not being built for profit. It's being built by the Appalachian Wildlife Foundation because of the ability they want people to be used for education. They've developed a partnership with the ARC in northern Kentucky, which is attracting now over 1 million visitors a year. The original projections are that this will attract, in the worst case scenario, 500,000 visitors a year. People will come onto it from 25, they will come onto it from I-75 up that route or from I-75 going south down that way to get to it. We've got so much positive things going for us in eastern Kentucky. I was raised here, played ball here, played in Paintsville when I was in the summer year of my senior year in high school, pitched against Steve Hamilton, who was a great player at Moorhead High School or college athlete. He was one of 2 players ever to play in the NBA and Major League Baseball. I pitched against him, beat him 2-1 in the finals of the State Summer Pro Tournament. And Coach Harry Lancaster, who was coaching UK baseball team, offered me one of the first 2 full baseball scholarships ever given at Kentucky. I would have never, ever been able to do that without the grounding I had with Bo McMillan and Ernie Chatton of the YMCA here, teaching me about what business was and life was, and having the access they did to give me the opportunity to go to the University of Kentucky. And with the education I got there, I was able to build. I have 61 first cousins. My mother's from a family of 15, 12 sisters, 3 brothers. My dad's from a family of 5. I'm the first one ever to go to college from either side of the family or graduate from college, and built a company that became known nationwide in a college sports marketing business. Couldn't have done that if I hadn't been raised here and didn't understand the culture of Eastern Kentucky. The first day of school, our professor introduced himself and challenged us to get to know somebody we didn't already know. I stood up to look around after a gentle hand touched my shoulder and turned around to find a wrinkled little old lady beaming up at me with an unbelievable smile that lit up her entire being. She said, "Hi, handsome. My name is Rose. I'm 87 years old. Can I give you a hug?" I laughed and enthusiastically responded, "Of course you can." She gave me a great giant squeeze. She said, and I said, "Why are you in college at such an innocent age?" I asked, "I'm here to meet a rich husband, get married, have a couple of children, and retire and travel." "No, seriously," I asked. I was curious about what may have motivated her to take on the challenge of her age. I always dreamed of having a college education. Now I'm getting one, she told me. After class, we walked to the Student Union building, shared a chocolate milkshake. We became instant friends. Every day for the next 3 months, we would leave class together, talk nonstop. I was always mesmerized listening to this time machine as she shared her wisdom and experience with me. Over the course of the year, Rose became a campus icon, and she easily made friends wherever she went. She loved to dress up, and she reveled in living it up. At the end of the semester, we invited her to speak at our football banquet. I'll never forget what she taught us. She was introduced, she stepped up the podium, and as she began to deliver her prepared speech, she dropped her 3x5 cards on the floor. Frustrated and a little embarrassed, she leaned into the microphone. She said, "I'm sorry, I'm so jittery. I gave up beer for Lent, and the whiskey is killing me." I'll never get my speech back in order, so let me tell you what I know. As we laughed, and she cleared her throat, and she began, "We do not stop playing because we're old. We grow old because we stop playing. There are only 4 secrets to staying young, being happy, and achieving success. First, you've got to laugh and find humor every day. You've got to have a dream. When you have dreams, when you lose your dreams, you die. We have so many people walking around who are dead and don't even know it. There's a huge difference in growing older and growing up. If you're 19 years old and you lie in bed for 1 full year and don't do one productive thing, you'll turn 20 years old. If I'm 87 years old and stay in bed for a year and never do anything, then I'll turn 88. Anybody can grow older. That doesn't take any talent or ability. The idea is to grow up by always finding the opportunity and change. Have no regrets. The elderly usually don't have regrets for what we did, but for rather what we did not do. Do not have regrets over what you did not do. Every one of you are here today because you're interested in trying to do better for your county or for your region or for your area or for your city. You can do better. You will do better. You're in the greatest place in the United States to live. God bless Eastern Kentucky. Thank you very much.
Stay here with me for a minute.
Okay. Is that okay?
Wonderful. We have one more short gift, Jim, that we would like to leave with you for coming back to your hometown. I think you're going to like this one. It's a little bit special from when you were very, very young. If you want to go over there with Karen and Colby. Do you recognize this guy?
Well, one more thing, sir. Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Blanton. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Ashland, and we couldn't have our favorite son here in Ashland without giving him a couple things. So we have not only a key to the city, but we also have a proclamation from Mayor Matt Perkins, who couldn't be with us today. But this proclamation is declaring March 8th Gym Host Day in Ashland, Kentucky.
Thank you very much. I've never had a day proclaimed.
So now you do. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. By God, after this, you guys should be able to go back and kill a lot of folks.
Hi, I'm Matt Perkins, Mayor of Ashland, standing here in the heart of our downtown at Broadway Square. We welcome you with open arms to our little city by the river. From festivals to fantastic concerts, your family is destined to have fun with us.
Hi, my name is Michelle Grubb, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Ashland. Recently, the City of Ashland has undergone a whole rebranding. When we put out a survey and investigated what did Ashland really mean? What did we want to be known for? The results came back resounding that it's not just music, it's not just art, but it's a combination of all kinds of aspects of creativity. So that's the new Ashland. The whole motto is create with us. So I'm standing in Ashland Art Alley. This alley is a great representation of the talent that is hidden in so many of our citizens, not only within the city, but our county and the region. Everything from actors and actresses that you may see at the local Paramount Players productions, to Broadway Square, in which you might have local musicians, to live paintings happening at every street corner. This is a place where you can come and thrive. If you want to start a business, if you want to explore what talent is hiding within you, Ashland is the place where you can come create with us.
Hi, my name is Holly Canfield, and I'm the Executive Director of the Paramount Art Center. So the Paramount opened its doors on September 5th, 1931, so we just celebrated the 90th anniversary of our beautiful historic theater. The Paramount operated as a transitional theater for talking pictures, one of the first in the country for many years. And then around 1972, the theater transitioned to a nonprofit performing arts center, which is how we operate today. We present a diverse array of programming to the greater Ashland community. So we have around 250,000 people frequent the Paramount each year from all around the country. They come here to hear our diverse programming, to experience live entertainment, and to enjoy the greater Ashland community. So we recently started a program called PAC Live, or Paramount Art Center Live, which is beyond the walls of the Paramount Art Center, out into our communities. We have programming at our Ashland Riverfront, which we can accommodate thousands of people. I encourage you to get a ticket, come out and join us today.
I'm standing on the Port of Ashland riverfront, overlooking the beautiful Ohio River. This is a great asset to our community. We have a lot of festivals and different events that happen down here. One of the greatest features that's newly been added to the Port of Ashland riverfront is something we refer to as the Port of Ashland sculptures. They were given to us by a generous donor who contacted a world-renowned artist known as Hines Saran Pagan. The three sculptures represent one, Vulcan. He is shown forging on an iron. It represents the metallurgy of the hardworking people of this community. If you notice, Venus is holding an ash branch. It represents the natural beauty that we find in this area, as well as the love of small town community. The center is known as Genesis, and it rotates 360 degrees at all points and times. It has 5 rods stretched across it, and it represents the 4 elements as well as God. So we invite you to check it out both day and night.
Hello, I'm Carol Allen, the Executive Director of the Highlands Museum and Discovery Center here in the heart of Ashland. Children really enjoy coming to the museum because here not only can they learn historical facts, but they also love to come to our Discovery Center where we have several exhibits that contain interactive play opportunities for children.
Hi, I'm Mike Grazie. I'm the City Manager of Ashland, Kentucky. With over 20,000 residents, Ashland is Eastern Kentucky's largest city. While Ashland is steeped in history, we're very proud of the adaptation and evolution that our community is making. We invite you to come visit us, enjoy our city, and especially enjoy our people, who are world-renowned for their hard work and their friendliness. Come create with us.
Ashland is a community where dreams come to life every day. Whether your vision involves the plate or the palette, we're open and ready for you.
Whether you're picking a fiddle or picking up a plate of good old home cooking, Ashland is a place for everyone. Come create with us.
Good afternoon. As I mentioned, I'm Josh Blanton, the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Ashland. Our Mayor, Matt Perkins, is unfortunately under the weather today and could not be with us, but he sends his warmest regards, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery. I want to first start by saying a huge thank you to our city staff. You saw several of them in the video. My fellow commissioners, Commissioner Goot, Commissioner Spriggs, Commissioner Clark, who you've seen from. We have an amazing team, as you've seen. Brandy, Michelle, Catherine Hutzinger, another key player in this event, and I can't thank them enough for all that they've done this week and all they do every week. On behalf of the mayor, my fellow commissioners, and the city staff, we're honored to welcome you all to Ashland, Kentucky. Thank you to the SOAR organization and to each of you for joining us. Ashland is a city like so many others represented in this room. With once booming industries faltering, our community found itself in a struggle. We know all too well the pain of watching families lose their sources of income, of buildings becoming vacant, of grasping for answers from the past while racing towards the future. Fortunately, being in Appalachia, we also know a little bit about grit and tenacity and never giving up. Anybody in this room from areas that has grit and tenacity and know how to not give up? Anybody? I thought so. The city of Ashland is right in the middle of our revitalization. While we are passionately seeking businesses and showcasing our workforce readiness, we are also committed to improving the quality of life for our citizens and capitalizing on our unique selling points. Over the past 2 years, a group of key leaders of the city, tourism, and multiple organizations have worked to rebrand our city and develop a destination plan. If you go into our tourism office, in the back of the office, you'll see a cartoon from Roger Brooks. You may have heard the name Roger Brooks used this week. And that's where our plan came from, to adopt the plan for our city and our downtown. And it's almost 3 years now that we've been on this plan. But on that cartoon, you'll see a team of horses and a horse-drawn carriage. And this is just illustrating the fact that if those horses are going in different directions, that carriage is not going to go very far. But if they're all going in the same direction, then that's when you make progress. And I like to think that it's meant to be that, especially for me in this phase of my life, that I'm here when we have all the pieces of the puzzle together and we're all pulling in the same direction. And it's great to see, but it's great for our citizens. Ashland is a very creative community. Whether it is something in the arts or music, you can find it in Ashland. Not only can you find it in Ashland, but you can be a part of it. Our brand invites our guests to create with us. Many of you did that at the reception already. How many of you painted on our mural at the reception at the train station last night? A few of us in here? Yeah, so that's a part of it. Create with us, and that's really what we're striving as a city to be is, not just the city creating things, but our citizens can do so much, and we want to be a canvas for the inspiration of our citizens to express themselves. We are inspired by the success stories that are shared during SOAR. It's encouraging meeting you all and hearing about your journey. We hope that in a few years the summit will return to Ashland, and those in this room will be able to give a firsthand account of the change that can happen when a city works together for the betterment of its community. Thank you again so much for coming to our city, and we welcome you to come back anytime and create with us.
Please welcome Boyd County Judge Executive Eric Cheney.
Hello, how's everybody today? Doing good? Happy to be here. I want to welcome you to Boyd County officially and welcome you to the city of Ashland. I will say it feels good to be in a room full of 700 people again. We're getting back to normal, so I'm very excited about that. But let's talk about for just a second what brings us all together here today, and that's SOAR. SOAR's mandate is to fill the economic gaps left by the decline of the coal industry. That doesn't make us all individual counties. Everybody in this room is from a different place. That makes us all family. Because we all are going through the same hard times that we've went through for the past 10, 15, 20 years. When I was running for office in 2018, one of the number one things that I heard all the time was the good old days. That's what we needed. We needed to push hard for what used to be. When we had 5,500 people working at our steel mill, when you had 300 people working at the coke plant, the coal-fired power plant up in Louisa was going strong, and Ashland Oil's headquarters was right here. There is no problem with the good old days, but when I would hear this, I would laugh because I wasn't alive in the good old days. So I don't remember the good old days like everybody else does. But I do know that we can choose our own destiny, and we do that together. We don't do that individually. We don't worry about city lines or county boundaries. We work together. Over the past 3.5 years as Judge Executive, we've took our team and we've looked really hard at what difference we can make. What does local government control? Quality of life. That's the number one thing that your local government can control on a daily basis. We've shifted our entire focus on economic development through tourism, working with both of our cities hand in hand. We're currently on the brink of being able to supply this area with 2 convention centers, a 120,000 square foot sports complex, a state-of-the-art farmers market, most of which is wrapped up into a mall that was constructed in 1990 that has been this unofficial mascot of this black cloud that's been over our county for 20 plus years. I know that each and individual person out there has a story like that in your community. You find ways to make it work. You think outside the box. That's what I encourage here today. I encourage every person to take home new ideas, new directions. Think outside the box. Don't be scared to speak up. I appreciate y'all coming out today, spending time here in beautiful Ashland. Get out and explore. Thank you all very much for coming, and thank you for your time.
Hello. Thank you to Colby Hall and all of the rest of the SOAR for inviting me to say a few words today. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you in Ashland, but I am so excited about this opportunity for an exchange of ideas that you're having surrounding the topics of tourism and downtown revitalization in our Appalachian communities. More than ever, now is the time for us to promote the beauty of our Appalachian land and the rich culture of our Appalachian people. During the COVID pandemic, we saw so many people relocating from our country's big cities to come to our region and enjoy the fresh air, the open spaces, and the outdoor recreation opportunities provided by our natural resources. It's because of this and because of how much we believe in the beauty of our Appalachian land and the resourcefulness of our Appalachian people that ARC is focusing on building regional culture and tourism